are negative exponents and how do you deal with them? Well, let me give you a typical example here. We have 4 times 8 raised to the power of negative 3. Now, how do we deal with this? Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to convert this into its reciprocal. Now, how do you do that? Well, right now, this is 8 raised to the power of negative 3 over 1. Because if you divide this by 1, it's still going to be 8 to the power of negative 3. That doesn't change. So what we're going to do now is we're going to flip this fraction. So now what we're going to have is 4 times Now what we're going to have is 4 times 1 divided by 8 raised to the power of 3. Okay, let me say that again. It's 4 times 1 divided by 8, which is now raised to the power of 3. They say, well, okay, now what do we do with all this? All right. What we're going to do is we're going to multiply 8 times 8 times 8. And 8 times 8 times 8 comes up to 512. So now what we've got is 4 times okay, here it is. We have 4 times 1 divided by 512. That's what we have. Now we're going to multiply the 4 times the 1. So, now we have Now we have 4 divided by 512. Well, guess what? We can divide both of these numbers by 4. Well, what do we get when we divide both of these numbers by 4? Well, this one becomes 1, because 4 divided by 4 equals 1, and this becomes 128. So now you have the fraction 1 over 128. Now what do you do with this? Well, you can either leave it as a fraction, or you can turn it into a decimal answer. Now if you do that, if you turn this into a decimal answer, I'm going to tell you exactly what you're going to get. Okay? Turning it into a decimal answer, we get this. Now you say, well, it's actually 0.007 and so on and so forth. Well, we're not going to have the fraction, the decimal going 6 and 7 places. We're just going to round up to the nearest thousandth. So now it's 0.008. That's what you'll get. Anyway, that is how you deal with a negative exponent. Alright. I will tell you more in a future video, so I want you to stay tuned.